Happy only galoshes until March season, everyone.
Yay! Had a dream that I was writing a check to Axl Rose for $88,000. That's a big check.
Also very specific. Every time my porch sensor light randomly comes on at night, I just calmly wait for Jason Voorhees to knock on my door. Hasn't happened yet, but there's still time.
And he would not knock. I'm getting a Christmas tree, damn it, from my backyard. Christmas tree shortage, supply chain shiz be damned.
Damned indeed. Have such a good day. Hello, world. Welcome to Have Such a Good Day. The show that I'm trying to sound like an announcer right now.
The
I don't know
show
why.
that's therapy without the bills. Episode 126, aka
for
cheap
free.
therapy.
Sunday. Have such a good
No,
day.
really, we are the show where we rant and rave about life, take you along for the ride, whether you like it or not.
That's right. I'm Sarah Lynn. That's Heather Frank. What up, peeps?
That me. Hi, how is everybody doing out there? It's good to have you
Doing
back.
well.
Trying to be peppy today,
Feeling the same. Yeah.
trying real hard.
Well, it's really gloomy where I am, Heather. I don't know how the weather is up your way, but it's one of those days where it's like it's not raining, but it's more than fog. You know, it's just like a constant like wet mist, and so
It's
you
not
just
my
sort
favorite.
of feel drab.
Yeah, I was down there for a week. I just got back a few days ago, and it was so gloomy like that. The entire like section of California that I drove through, which was a pretty big section. Yeah. Everywhere I stopped, it was cloud cover. I don't think I saw the sun once when I was gone. But then when I came home, it was a beautiful sunny day. So
Well, that's
I was
nice.
blessed with that. Just
Yeah.
hashtag blessed. What can I say?
Hashtag blessed. It's been actually pretty nice around here. I mean, it's been cold at night for sure. I mean, it's chilly. It's California chilly, which is it's not the same as
Which
it's
is not
snowing or
East
anything.
Coast. Yeah,
Yeah,
whenever I
no,
complain
no.
about being cold, my boyfriend who's from Iowa, he's just like, no, you don't know what cold is. There's no snow. I'm fine with no snow.
Yeah, on Scott Johnson, who some of you may know, he's a regular contributor on DTNS. He lives in Salt Lake City, and I was mentioning like earlier when I saw him earlier for the show that I have a new space heater in my garage, and it's like it's very very cozy in here. It works really well. And he was like, "Yeah, it's cold here too. We're supposed to get snow tonight," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that is a lot colder than this."
I love a good space heater though.
Me just wearing, a jean jacket and like being like, it's kind of chilly. This space heater, I gotta tell you, girlfriend, the
Talk to me.
Vornado.
Oh no,
Are
I
you-
have the same one. Is it white?
Yeah. No, it's like silver. It's like
Mine's
silver and
white.
black.
Anyway, I have a Vornado also, and it is so amazing. I love it. I turn it on every morning next to my desk. And it
Packs
keeps
a
me
real
cozy.
punch.
It really
Yeah.
does. The cats
It's
like
funny
it too.
because I've got a I bet. Well, it's Otis, the dog, who's here with me doing his lounge thing.
Yo,
Gosh, you
Oat.
guys should see him. Oat. He especially lately, when he knows the time of day where I kind of like I stop what I'm doing upstairs. Upstairs is where I live, and I come down to the studio, which is underneath, which is a garage. And in the summer, it's great in here because it really doesn't get warm. It's like it'll be like baking outside, and it's like real nice in here. But in the winter, it also it's not warm. There's no, it's not absorbing any heat really around. So you need the space heaters, and Otis would kind of look at me and be like, I know that you're going downstairs because it's that time of day, and I don't want to go down there. I want to stay up here where it's like way better, and there's like blankets everywhere. So he's enjoying the space heater as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a good little thing. I mean, a fireplace on the other hand that's a little bit of a step up, but I'll take my Vornado and my
Sure.
heating pad any day.
My fireplace is gas, and a lot of people have that now, and
Yeah, it's great.
It's and it's.
Do you use it?
You just press a button and it comes on. I do, but I feel like it's not a great use of heat. It's one of those things where it's like, because it's like an old school fireplace where you've got the hearth, I
Yeah.
guess, in front, that's brick. And so like if I sit in front of the fireplace, I'm like, oh yeah, just like heating up my back. But then I'm like, what? I mean, how long am I
Doesn't
gonna
really
sit
heat the
here?
room
Well,
very
not
well.
really. No, my ceilings are really high,
Yeah.
and it just kind of, I feel like, and the fireplace is kind of, it's along a wall, and you look at it and it's awesome, and my TV's above the fireplace, so it looks really nice, but I'm like, it seems like a waste of energy most of the
Yeah.
time
Oh no, I hear
because
you.
I'm
And I
running my actual heater too, you know.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad. I mean, we live far enough away that, we don't have regulations on burning wood, but I still feel guilty about it, just burning firewood and it going into the air and using the
Mm-hmm.
firewood. I mean, we have firewood from trees that we had to cut down, so it's not like we don't buy firewood. We have firewood just naturally living out here. But
Mm-hmm.
I just feel bad about all of the ecological stuff. I don't like to make an impact. So I guess it's good to
Yeah.
have a conscience.
Yeah, there's a fire pit on the property here, and people use it. Everybody loves their s'mores.
I am sure.
And there's a ton of firewood that was like even like a holdover from the previous tenants. I mean, they bought like
Wow.
multiple cords of wood, clearly,
That's
and it's all
awesome.
sort of stored, in this kind of outdoor cabinet area. And I mean, it'll
Well,
take forever for
that's
anybody to get through
nice
that.
because it
Yeah, it's
ain't cheap.
great. But at the same time, there have been days in the summer where I'm like, are you people kidding? You're like, you built a fire? Like that is dumb. Like the neighbors will hate me.
Yeah, it gets hot
It just
there.
yeah, and it's just like what?
It's not good for
Like
the air at
not
all.
good for the air. Certainly, fire season is like one thing. Like someone
Yeah.
could like legit be like scared. Or I don't know. There were these guests once. I don't even remember if I told the story on the Airbnb special episode that we did. Um, I was so mad. They had it was a no burn day, like a red flag warning day where it's like, okay, I get that, like if you're not monitoring stuff like that because you're from somewhere else, like totally you wouldn't know that. Like that's something that like in the morning I know first thing, even though I'm not going to burn anything, it's like I want to know, you know, what are the scary days. And they had built a fire, and they it was like not that late yet, and this is in the summer, so it's lighter later. And I think I was going to go take Otis to the dog park or something. And as I'm leaving, I noticed that the fire pit's going and no one's around.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, the hell? What? I mean, we're going to burn the neighborhood down, And so I went, up and knocked on the door. Didn't, like, no, it seemed like no one was there, but the cars were there. These were, Airbnb guests. And so I text the contact, and I was like, yo, I gotta go, but you gotta put this fire out. Like, you can't have a fire that's unattended, like, ever. Like,
Yeah, no.
even in the rain, don't do that. But, like, take care of this. And then I got a text right back. Oh, I'm sorry. Like, we were putting the kids to bed. Like, so sorry. Like, we'll deal with it. Totally understand. And I wrote back, like, it's a red flag warning day. Like, you're not supposed to be burning anything,
Yeah.
And then she was like, I didn't know that. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, she gets a pass, like, of course. Like, I didn't tell her that. Maybe I should have in the morning, like, yo, don't use the fire pit.
Sure.
And then I came back like an hour later, and they're like all like sitting on the deck, like not freaking out or anything, but they're like, yeah, we can't seem to put the fire out.
Oh, great.
We're like, we keep pouring water on it. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, do I need to get the fire extinguisher out? Like, and like extinguish the fire pit, like s'mores fun?
Yeah,
It
you
ended up
never
working
know
out.
what fun is at home when you get there, Like you just don't know what you're going to stumble upon, Sarah.
Well, that feeling where I'm like, listen, I'm leaving. You're an adult. Put the fire out. Like I'm not gonna like sit here and watch you do it. And then I get home and they're like, we don't know how.
Google it. That's all you got to say is, it's all about signage. Okay. First of all, like maybe there's a sign that goes up on the property that's like, this is a high fire, day or whatever the numbers are. And then maybe it's like, and when in
No, that
doubt,
sounds
Google
like a lot
it.
of work for me. Yeah, yeah. It's I was very angry over all of this just because, for safety reasons. It wasn't so much that like they didn't know what they were doing. I was just like, what if they're really like they started a fire?
Yeah.
One
No,
ember
really.
goes flying
Seriously.
and that's the end of it.
And
Like
that's
that.
what happens.
I was mad about it, and so I kind of was like, all right, there will be no fire pit usage between April and October, period. And I really didn't enforce that. But that was the only time I can really think of where I was like, this is a huge security issue.
Yeah, absolutely. You tell them, Sarah.
Yeah, I will. Well, it's it's been an interesting week, interesting couple of weeks. So on the last show, I told you all about Ralphie the cat, the newest member. Was it on the last show?
Yeah, I
He's
think
so
so.
new. Yeah, I think so. And he got him the Thanksgiving weekend, and he is just an adorable little Muppet. I don't know how else to describe him. He's such a little Muppet cat. He looks like a Muppet to me. He's got his big polydactyl mitten hands, and he has a funny voice. He just has a funny Muppet-like quality to him.
Oh, I can't wait to meet him. He sounds really
Yeah,
cute.
Ralphie the Muppet. I also like to call him Wreck-It Ralph when he's kind of like
Because it's his paws. He's like,
when he's in a mood, I'm like, here comes Wreck-It Ralph coming around the corner. Watch out, everybody! But because my house is so big, so many corners to walk around. But he's just great. But since day one of having him, there were a couple of things that I noticed. First of all, I mean, they told me he was 7. There's no way for me to know that, but they usually kind of go off of teeth. So
Yeah.
let's call it 7.
Okay.
But I noticed that he didn't jump. Like he just, cats jump on things, whether you're like a crazy cat jumper who jumps on the kitchen counter when you're not supposed to, or whatever, you jump on the bed, whatever. It's like, cats jump. And I noticed that like he would sort of clamber onto the couch. And the first night that he brought him home and he slept there, I kind of went to bed and Otis sleeps on the couch overnight, and Ralphie was just kind of wandering and sniffing things, and I was sort of like, you know what, he can decide to sleep wherever he wants. He can come up on the bed if he wants, but like that'll be his choice. And at some point, like kind of after I had drifted off, he jumped on the bed, but he like was like like holding on with his claws, like I have to get all the way up, kind of thing. And it sort of startled me, and I was kind of like, okay, maybe he has arthritis, or his back legs are a little funny. And that's still the case. I now have a little step stool at the foot of the bed. Aww. And he that's how he gets on, that's how he gets off, because he really likes the bed. The couch, he almost like jumps and surfs it, and then just kind of like wiggles the rest of the way. So he can get up on but it's like, I have various chairs in the apartment. It's like, he's never once jumped onto one of them. He's just, I don't think he's a good jumper, and that's okay. It's
We still
totally
love him.
cool. Yeah. And I really don't have, it's not like I bought some like elaborate cat condo that's super vertical that like he can't use.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's just, he is what it is. But there was another issue that I noticed right away. And at first I thought it was just like a funny quirk, was that he would kind of use the litter box, do his business. He was eating and drinking, in fact, drinking kind of a lot of water. And he would, when he would come out, he would kind of like clean himself, as cats do, like with one leg in the air type thing. And he would kind of growl as he was doing it. And like he wasn't growling at anybody. He wasn't looking at Otis or me, or, it was like he was like in his own like weird world. And so I was like, I just have a weird cat, he's just weird in a variety of ways, that I'm just discovering. And he also would do this thing, what I like to call Wreck-It Ralph, where he'd kind of like, all of a sudden he'd just be like, I'm crazy, and run around. You know how that goes at your house, Heather. Where
Yeah,
you just
totally.
be like, I'm a crazy cat, watch out,
And then they
and like
jet around and jump up the
yeah,
wall.
and just like attack
yeah.
nothing, and that kind of thing. You know, he would try to scratch the carpet and I'd be like, no, scratching post. That's what this is for. We're still working on that. But it was just like, just stuff where I was like, oh, I'm just getting to know you a little bit. The growling thing though, at one point, this is not that long ago. I mean, within the last week, he did it while he was laying on the bed, and it was at night. Like I was asleep, and it wakes me up, because I'm thinking, when I hear a cat growl, I'm like, danger.
Yeah.
Like, is he growling at Otis? Is he growling at me? Is there an intruder? Like, what is that? And it was the same thing where he's like in a trance almost, like growling and cleaning. So I look it up on the internet, as one does, and it was like people saying, oh, you could have like, a kidney stone or some other stone that like needs to pass and it's hurting them. And so they're cleaning, but they're in pain. Or it could be like cystitis, which is like a bladder thing. And, of course, the internet will tell you all the worst things. And like, it could be really serious, especially in male cats, because of, the way that they're built. And, so I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't really like this. We'll monitor it, And the thing is like, when you get a new pet, you got to take him into the vet sooner or later anyway, just to make sure, everything looks good. The Humane Society where I adopted him, they do their best, but I mean, they kind of just hope that the animal's in good health before they, hand them off to the adopter, because they're trying to, move the merch.
Sure.
So the other day, it was morning and he's doing his growling thing, but it's like worse than usual. I'm kind of looking at him like, buddy, I'm probably going to have to call the vet, after work's done for the day. Like, we're going to need to get you in there, like, perhaps this week. And then, he's kind of, and it was like, he was like, it wasn't so much a growling, but it was more of like howling. And, where you're like, it's like, it's the sound of, if two male cats are fighting and they're outdoor cats, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
like screechy, howly, like,
Yep.
it's usually them just looking at each other and not actually fighting, but it sounds really bad.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing inside
Buddy.
at nothing, and I was scared. Then he threw up everywhere. And it was just like, I'll spare you the details. Very dramatic, though. It wasn't just a little like, meh, cat barf. It was like, oh, this is bad news.
Wow.
Then he's like hiding in the litter box, and I was like, okay, this is a real problem. I called the vet. They told me, yeah, sounds like an emergency. Bring him in. So I did, and it's this damn emergency vet, because my regular vet was they couldn't take him. I've got to go to the emergency place.
It's kind of
which
like that these days. I don't think I can get an appointment till like January 30th or something.
Yeah. Well, the emergency vet is where I had been taking Lucy. So I'm very familiar with these folks, and they're very familiar with me at this point. But I took him in. It was kind of funny. Everyone's like, hello again. Oh, you have a different cat. And I'm like, yeah, life moves pretty fast, everybody. And so they saw him, and the really good news is that that he did not have what was feared was what they call a total blockage or a complete blockage, which is where a stone or some other something has completely blocked their ability to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And so, it's stuck or it has to come up, and that's like, it can just kill them like
Totally.
instantly.
Wow.
So that isn't the case. Thank goodness. They said, and I'm sorry to blow up your spot, Ralphie. I really am. I know it's embarrassing, but they said that he has an unusually small bladder.
Oh, buddy.
Yep, because they did an ultrasound. And they said,
wow.
it's just very, very small. Which is funny because he's not a tiny cat. He's
No,
kind of a bowling
bigger cat.
ball.
He
Yeah,
is
like, I mean, he's not obese at all, but you pick him up and you're like, you're made of bricks. Like, he's not light,
Yeah.
and like Lucy seems like she was just like a marshmallow compared to him. He's hefty.
Yeah.
So they said, yeah, small bladder, and kind of, looks like he probably needs to just be on some like special diet, food, particularly for this sort of thing, just to kind of help everything flow. And in the meantime, gave me some temporary, wouldn't be lifetime, like muscle relaxers, just kind of so like, if he's got to do his thing, if you're eating and drinking normally, you're going to have to you know, has to comes out somewhere at some point, and just to make that process easier. And then they have some like kitty morphine that they gave me that I
Aw.
only gave him kind of at the beginning because it really, I mean, it makes them,
I
they're
wonder how
loopy.
different it is to human morphine because so many of cat drugs are really just human drugs in smaller doses, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Lucy's lymphoma medicine, chlorambucil, is the same thing that lymphoma humans take.
Yeah, it's very, I mean, I
It
feel
was
like
just,
most of
for like
the,
a 9 pound
yeah,
creature rather than,
totally.
150.
Well, I'm glad that Ralphie's okay and he's home and he's doing all
He
right.
is, he's home. He's doing all right. He did a little, and he takes, he's taking this medicine and he won't take it. Like I have to be like "Merp," down your throat. But some cats, that's not gonna work. You know what I mean? Lucy, the angel that she was, would just be like, "Would you like me to take my medicine? Just put it in a pill pocket, and I'll take whatever you want, and I'll eat my plate clean, and I'm perfect." Well, Ralphie is like, "Pill pocket? I'm not eating that garbage." And he's a little too much of a grazer to just like put a pill in the food and hope it gets eaten. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't want it sitting in there too long. So I just, pop open the mouth, down the hatch, and he kind of goes, I don't like that. And then he's not mad at me anymore. So,
Do you put
so
cheese
that,
on it or something, or you just
well,
do it?
I put the pill in a pill pocket. It's like a
Oh, I
little, like
see.
salmon flavored, kind
Yeah,
of a little mushy thing.
totally.
So at least it's like,
Good job, Sarah.
slightly more fun than,
You're an expert by now. I mean, you've been
I
through
really
it. I mean,
am.
if anyone's been in a kitty ER, I feel like you've been in one so many times, dozens, maybe hundreds.
Yeah. I will say though, before we move on, like I don't need to like tell you like every like minute detail of this experience, but I did have a moment, this was it was just a couple days ago, ER day. And, I was kind of like right in the middle of work. It was in the middle of the day. And I kind of say, to my coworkers, I'm like, I need to deal with this. Like, I'm kind of freaked out right now, like I'm not thinking even clearly, and I'm taking him to the ER and he's a really bad traveler, by the way. Horrible. Just screaming, crying,
Oh,
pooped in his
buddy.
carrier, whole
Oh,
thing.
oh God.
Yeah, just a nightmare. And as I'm driving there, I'm thinking like, what am I doing? Like because of course your mind goes to worst case scenario because of everything that I had read on the internet. It's like, oh my gosh, like what if he just like dies today? And I have to like
God.
come to terms with that and just, was this too much of an impulse thing in the first place? Did I not like what maybe I should have just waited until the holidays were over to like adopt an animal and have I done this all wrong? That you just kind
Of
of
course.
starting to get dark.
That
And
remorse, yeah.
yeah, and just thinking like, what if I had done something differently? And just like, I don't want to do this today, and it's going to be so expensive. Well, it still was very expensive. You take your cat to the ER, they give him an ultrasound. You're not getting out of there for free.
No.
I'll tell you that much. But it was really good news, and things have been better since. And we really are starting to bond. Which
Good.
which I don't think happens overnight. With any animal. I mean, also Otis, cover your ears. But it took Otis and I a little bit to like learn that we were madly in love. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to break up with him for a little bit. But yeah, it's things are looking up. So
Good.
so I will keep y'all posted. But with any luck, that'll be the end of my ER visits for some time.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you've exhausted them for the year.
I've earned my stripes.
Welp, that's a big old whelp, not a well.
Yeah.
I just need to be honest here and come clean and just get it out there. I'm gonna give some new meaning to it's been a year. You know, death and taxes and all that stuff. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm not really ready, but no, I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm
Yep.
yeah, it's just such a weird thing to talk about because all y'all are going to be very shocked. But I know that everybody has experienced loss this year. The pandemic, of course, but it's also part of life. You can't blame the pandemic for everything, even though I want to. But after a very valiant fight with lupus and pneumonia, my mom did pass away last week. And I know what you're thinking. It's like, I'm thinking that too. And all my friends and everyone I know is thinking this, like, oh my gosh, like two parents in a year.
Yeah.
Basically, my year was bookended with parental death. And it's wild. It's surreal. It's like I live in tragic, some kind of tragic play. I don't know. But I don't really want to turn this show into a place for sad news because, there has been a lot of like ups and downs for, both Sarah and I this year. But I know that all of you have had ups and downs too, because that's just life and it's pandemic and it's all the things. But I just can't not be honest with you all about what's going on with me, because this show is somewhat of a personal journal of sorts. And Sarah and I like to lean into less newsy things and more personal things that maybe you guys can relate to. So I don't want to belabor it and bring everybody down, but definitely without a doubt in my mind, COVID helped grease the wheels of both of my parents' passings this year. And that's really messed up and it makes me really angry. I don't think they would have, gone so quickly. But her quality of life was at stake. And so she's definitely in a better place. So I'm kind of leaning into that, and I'm okay. It's been a total shit sandwich of a year. But there were a lot of great things too. I don't want you to think like, oh man, like, wow, like it is heavy, I mean, she was an anchor, as moms are, and she was a wonderful artist and a free spirit and a gypsy. And I'll miss talking to her every day. And she was the most gentle, giving person, always ready to dress up and like go dancing or go to a party and be social, and had lots of friends and just was a wonderful woman. And she will be extremely missed every second of the day while I'm not missing my father. But I know that, there's a time for everyone, and this is part of life. And I'm trying to lean into that, like that it's natural. It's a natural course of life. Maybe not even making it into your 80s is a good thing, because I know a lot of people right now who are struggling with their parents and they're not doing very well and they're not happy. And, both of my parents were about 79. And, so I've been in, I guess, the ringer this year, but honestly, it hasn't all been bad. There's been a lot of magic that has come out of these, dark times, and lots of things to be happy about. Seriously, lots of things. And I will make an effort to talk more about those things on the show. I think, it's easy to, talk about these crises and these, they make, they're just stories, they're anecdotes of our lives. And, you guys have been along for the ride for a couple years now with us, and you know us pretty well. You're not really strangers anymore. And I really appreciate all of the support and just, hanging on with us and being there. So thank you for everything. And, she would want me to celebrate life. Of course she's going to know that I'm going to be sad and there's going to be moments, and it's a whole new world. But it can be exciting if I let it be. So I'm going to try to lean into it. And I would like to know from you guys, how has your year been? Be honest. Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com.
Heather, I know we all have our moments. But like, because I'm a crier.
I know. I figured you'd cry for me.
I cry all the time.
Yeah.
And I think you have a real stoic quality that I admire a lot.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Sarah. I mean, I have my moments. I mean, usually over dinner, and for some reason, when I turn out the light at night, it's like it's a very interesting time. It's like it turns on my tears. It's just turns off the light, and then I turn on my tears, and
well, so it's sort of like it's all just quiet.
Yeah,
right?
maybe that's it.
And so your thoughts kind of, they're right in front. Whereas maybe you're doing stuff the rest of the time.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I know I sound stoic and, fine right now, but of course I totally have my moments, and this day was going to come, whether it was now or later. And
right.
You just kind of have to, I don't know. I'll talk more about it in later episodes, because these kinds of things just sort
This
of
is
evolve.
very fresh.
It's very fresh.
Yeah, very fresh.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I know that you don't want to bring anybody down. I also know anyone listening is like, hey, we appreciate you, sharing this with us, and don't ever worry about bringing people down, because like you said, this is a one big personal journal of sorts. And we are so thankful that it resonates with people. Like, I can't tell you how happy it makes us when someone writes in and says like, I just feel like I'm, hanging out with friends, or
Totally.
you say things that I really relate to. Like, that's so cool, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's
we
the
could
best.
just be a couple of weirdos who only relate to each other.
Well,
and
maybe
the
we are
fact
a
that
couple
there are,
weirdos, but
yeah, well, we are a couple of weirdos, but so are all of you. Turns out the army's it's the weird army, but yeah, it's I don't think you, Heather, should ever feel like, well, I have to be a certain way or I'm gonna ruin someone's podcast. Like, no, we're all here for the real shit. That's why we're here.
Exactly. And it's like I'm not a great actor. I think it would be hard for me to kind of like skirt what's really going on, and so I'm going to be okay. You're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. There's bumps
Yeah.
in the road. That's totally normal. And, we will survive until we don't survive anymore.
Yep.
Really.
Yep. And then we'll, I don't know, be reincarnated
somewhere else,
into a table, or, if we're lucky, an egret or something.
Table. I kind of
I'm
don't want to
sitting
be
at a table. I
Like,
kind of looked at it. And I'm like, something's dumb, like a table. Just like this,
I
this
go with
actual
egret.
table. I
that
would
would
like
be
to be
pretty
an
boring. Yeah. Egrets are pretty amazing.
I like them. Yeah.
One of my favorite
Great
birds.
legs.
Great legs.
Great
And
legs.
those snowy egrets that have like the kind of like mohawky hair, or like feathers. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very majestic.
We get them, around the river around here. And it's, I don't know. They make me happy.
They
Oh
make
my gosh,
me happy too, Sarah. Seriously,
See?
I love them.
There's happiness around every
There
corner.
is. There really is.
There was if I mean, we got to change subjects somehow.
Yeah, we
so
will.
why not
Let's do
do
it.
it with birds?
Yeah.
I was driving the other day, and it's just that winter sky. It was in the middle of the day. It wasn't nighttime or anything, but just that sky that's like, even on a sunny day, it's like, it's just that winter sky.
Oh yeah.
It's muted blue.
Yep.
And a bunch of, and Otis is in the back, and I've got the sunroof isn't open, but the ceiling's open, so
Yeah.
you can look up, because he likes to look up. And we get this like flock of birds, and where it's like the kind where you're like like apocalyptic,
Yeah.
too many birds, where it's just this big, it almost looks like like a hornet swarm or something. And they're I'm driving, so I'm kind of watching them go like across the road, and we're kind of in this expansive area where it's very dramatic, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm in the car, like going like, oh my God, they keep coming. Thousands of birds. I don't even know what kind of birds they were, because they were
awesome.
like too high. They were small.
Yeah.
But it was very cool.
I love it. I never get sick of that. And it's really funny that you transition with birds, because my mom actually, one of the things she really wanted to make sure that I have, because she was very into collecting things, and I have like a whole box of these really cool, they're kind of like Mexican, they were made in Mexico. She got them in Mexico at a variety of places over the years. And they're these kind of like painted like ceramic birds, and they're kind of in a family. They all kind of like match, but they're like different. And it's really sweet. So like I have a whole box of like, I mean, there must be like 12 to 15 ceramic birds. So yeah, my mom liked birds. So that was a good transition, actually.
Maybe you can kind of, I don't know, put them up on the wall somewhere.
Oh, for sure. They're going
have
up on the banister, and I'll pepper them around the house.
I love, well, I was about to say, I love a ceramic bird. I mean, I don't have one ceramic bird, but just the idea of like birds as art.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I'm into it too.
Yeah. I mean, Portlandia, you didn't make this up.
No,
Okay.
Nope, they did not. Put a
People
bird
have,
on it.
like, people have loved birds for a long time, and will continue to.
Yep.
Well, Heather, we're all giving you a big hug.
Thanks,
it has
man.
been a year.
Yeah, it really has.
Well put. You know, what else can you say, really?
2022 is going to be off the chain. It's going to be such a magical year. I just know it. I can feel it. So many good things coming our way.
God, you know, I, I keep, I just keep saying like 2021, like everyone's like, you know, this year sucked. Like next year's better. You know, here's looking, you know, to better things. But I'm like, 2021 was legit just
Worse.
freakishly
Well,
bad.
yeah,
at
but
least
even
at least for me, you know, didn't have a good year.
Well, that was what was funny is in 2020, everyone was like, 2021 is going to be such a better year. And then now we're
Yeah,
at the end
because
of
like how could
2021.
it be? You know, 2021 is like we bottomed out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Things
but
are
like,
out of our control, you know?
but you know, you are 100% right that like even in a year where I'm like it was a particularly bad year, you know, where I'm like, hey, I got cancer this year. I mean, pretty bad year.
Yeah.
But also like the entire year was not bad.
No, of
I
course
had
not.
I had some fun times, you
Yeah.
know. I had some good times with friends and family and great conversations and you know, like did stuff I was proud of, you know, like
Absolutely.
had particularly like great exercise days where I'm like I feel really good. Like I'm in good shape right now. You know, like
Yeah.
there's like even just little things like that, you know? Or like a I don't know.
Like a really yummy, like gingerbread cookie or like just little things like that.
Yeah. Or just kind of like looking at my dog and being like, God, you know, I'm just so happy. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, like that all happened too.
Absolutely.
And so, you know,
For
when you
me
wrap
too.
it all in a big bow, I'm still going to kick 2021 to the curb
Yeah.
and hope that it breaks its leg on the way down. But
Or its
yeah,
face.
you know, yep. I hope you break your face 2021 after I kick you and you fall into the curb. Okay? That's what I hope. But there, you know, there were moments. One of the moments, Heather, um, speaking of cancer, when I was recovering, you know, I was at my mom's for some time because I couldn't really walk or do anything, even though it's like my feet didn't get operated on, but it was all this whole exercise thing that I had to really stay away from so that everything healed properly on the inside. And sucked. And I had, you know, these drains coming out of my body. It was a horror show. And you know, I was bored because after really the first week or so, you're not really taking pain meds so that you're like, oh, I'm so tired. You know, I'm going to like sleep all day. It's like, no, I'm more just kind of uncomfortable and sitting there.
Yeah.
You know, so you get like, you kind of say beforehand, oh, well, you know, this is a good excuse to just watch movies all day because I can't do anything else. Like I literally can't even go on a walk. I'm not supposed to. But you don't want to do that all day. You know, you just, it gets so old. And so, you know, I'm kind of on the internet and, you know, doing whatever and trying to check in on life. And I've got this group of friends that are heavily into cryptocurrency and lots of, like a lot of people in the world these days. But I would say they're a few steps beyond like a casual, like, well, okay, I'll get like a Coinbase account and like see what this is all about. Like they're a little bit farther along. And we're in like a chat about it that I almost never participate in. In fact, for a while, I was like, I muted the chat because I'm just like, I don't know, you guys are so annoying. You know, it's like you're like getting really obsessive about this and like, let's talk about something else. And then that was really kind of mostly because number one, I don't have a lot of money to play with. Read zero money to play with. And you know, the whole idea of like investing in crypto is like investing in the stock market. I mean, it has to start with dollars, you know, you convert it and then you do other things, but it's like, you know, you can't play without, you know, it's like gambling, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and I don't like doing that because I'm like, I have a finite amount of money. I need every penny. And if I do something stupid and I lose it, I might as well have just gone to Vegas, you know, and been stupid there, you know, which I don't ever do, you know, at least not to gamble. And so I've just sort of stayed away from it. But I also like to follow this for news purposes. I do have to talk about it semi-regularly. I want to be informed about how this works. And just like, you know, when someone says like, yeah, Bitcoin, it's like money, but it's like a different kind of money. It's like that's like the most a lot of people think about this, if at all. And there's a lot more to it. And we don't have to get into that conversation here on this show, certainly not today. But as I'm sitting there recovering and I've drank my like seventh cup of tea for the day, I was like, all right, okay, let me like look through this thread, the friend thread, and just sort of like see what the talk is. Because these dudes were like, every day there'd be like, oh, here's a new exchange. Oh, here's this new way to like track your net worth. Oh, here's the new, like ledger, these physical ledgers. Everybody's got to have physical ledger now. It's the only way to keep everything safe.
Wow.
Oh, hot wallet. How many hot wallets do you have? Like it's really like that. And so, and it's easy for me to just be like, ugh, because you're so annoying. Just shut up. But I was like, what? I have nothing better to do than to like get involved a little bit harder.
Just try it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, and like, even if I'm like, okay, I have $100 and I'd like to, see what I can do with this $100 in like a million different crypto ways. It's like, you don't have to be rich, but there has to be something. And cause everything has a fiat amount. So I I had my small and meek number that I decided I was comfortable playing with, because I'm comfortable losing. And, so I like set myself up for, a couple things and did a bunch of research, and turns out that like this currency, and I'll keep it vague because I'm not trying to like, give you my bank account or anything, everybody, but like I had decided like, okay, I want to buy this certain amount of cryptocurrency. Why did I choose this currency? I don't know. I mean, it's one of so many to choose from. It seemed like that's what I decided. And, so I converted, and I'm in, with an exchange, but then I like heard about MetaMask and won't even go into that. Some of you are probably laughing as you listen to me, like, oh God, Sarah. And so, but then I wanted to like stake the cryptocurrency, which is like when you stake it, it's almost like putting money into a CD. It's same idea where you're like, okay, I'm not going to touch this for a while, and that way I get like a pretty good interest rate on the money. Or at least better than what I would ever get with a savings account. That part is actually very true. But you still have to, know what you're doing and be prepared for, high volatility of the market. Anyway, I did a bunch of stuff, I've got this stuff set up. I'm starting to get, into the conversation with my friends, and my friends are like, yay, Sarah she finally broke. She's in, cause they know I actually do like this stuff. I just was like always too busy to like care, It's way easier to be like, ugh, who cares, than to like do a bunch of research. But once you do a bunch of research, like this is the thing that I love most, is like learning new things this way, especially when it comes to like weird internet things. So I was like, all right, I'm on the team, crypto team. And promptly the money that I had put into this particular currency, I had the currency, I'm looking at it. There are a variety of ways that you can, look this stuff up. It's not secret. And, it kind of spiked to the point where like I made $50, right? Like we're not, again, small, but I'm like, dude, I could take out that $50 and like, it's $50.
Yeah.
Like I printed $50.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. $150. Well, of course there are tax issues here. Like I don't really get the $50. I mean, some people aren't reporting this kind of stuff, and that's going to be an issue real soon. But still, it's what you can consider free money. But I didn't do that because I was like, well, but no, just keep it in there and see what happens. Well, I will tell you right now that my money is gone. I've lost my money because the currency that I decided was my best bet was, in fact, my worst.
Oh, no.
There are lots of other terrible bets. And the thing is like, when you've got money into something like this, just like if you, I don't know, bought into Tesla and Tesla tanked.
Yeah.
Probably never will, but let's just say it did. Like, well, I mean, if you don't pull out, the few pennies you have left and it comes back, like, you still have those shares.
Yeah.
So like you could get it back. but not right now. So I'm just sort of like, I'm a sad person. And a lot of people in my group are like, they were the ones that convinced me it was a good currency, by the way.
So
And
would
so
you do
we're
it
all
again?
just like, well, I mean, I'm not out of the game. I'm still in the
Okay.
game.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just have no money right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just sort of like, what a bunch of shit. Like here I am, like I'm recovering from being near death. Let me try something new. Oh, cool. I just
Wah wah.
burned some money. Yeah, I just burned some money. Thanks everybody.
But
Why'd you
it's a
tell me
great
to buy this
story.
currency? Yeah. No, it's honestly it's a learning experience and
Yeah.
I have barely scratched the surface, truly.
Yeah.
It is and I also think a lot of this is super corny. Not gonna lie, and it has nothing to do with cryptocurrency being corny. It's this cultural stuff that I don't
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and that is just it is what it is, and it's gonna evolve over time. It's a small number of people being like, we're going to like write the narrative about how this unfolds, and
Yeah.
that's it's not going to be that way for very long, but that's kind of how it is now. And that part of it, I'm just like, gosh, lamos. But I'm also kind of a lamo in a way. So that's been my
Hey,
latest project.
I
I'm
appreciate the honesty.
yeah, yeah. It is again learning more every day. There have been a few days where I'm just like still like with my group. I'm like, guys, shut up. I'm poor again. Shut up. But no, it's it always feels good to me. There's certain things that like I'm never gonna know that much about. I will be left behind.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
if and it's like you can't know everything.
No.
But anything that I feel like is fun to tinker with
Yeah.
is software based and it helps me be better at like my livelihood.
And like understanding the world, you know?
Yeah, that all is like that's fun to me,
Yeah.
even if I'm not a winner.
Yeah. No, it's funny
Because
because
right now I'm really very
you
much
feel
not
like
a
a
winner.
loser, a big old loser, like L
Well, I
on
just
your
feel like
forehead.
somebody who's like I jumped into something that like I didn't know very much about, and that's what happens is
But
you
that,
lose
but
money.
that's like why, I mean, that you have to take that leap of faith or you never will know.
Yeah, well,
So
that's how you learn.
yeah,
Learn as you
exactly.
go.
And it's
Learn as you
funny,
go.
I'm in kind of a financial like realm, obviously with like the real estate stuff, but I've been, meeting with this financial advisor all year, like once a month kind of thing. And so I'm working with this financial advisor on these investments that my dad made with his Schwab account, and I'm learning a lot. Like I never was into the market. Like I really kind of just like let it go in one ear and out the other because I felt like I never really had the mind space for it. But now I'm like actually much more interested in it. Maybe because I was like a late bloomer or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting. And I noticed myself sort of kind of digging in more and more. And yeah, I just love like the learning of the new things, and just the amount of stuff I learned from this woman who is my advisor. It's just like opening up this whole new world for me. And I find it really exciting. Um, but what I find not very exciting, Sarah, is how so not ready I am for Christmas. I mean, seriously, I have to say, like the last two Christmases have just been real poop emoji for me, and I don't know what it even means to me anymore. So I've been kind of forced out of town for these family emergencies, and so it hasn't really been my favorite season. And of course I used to love it when I was a kid, and it's festive and fun and whatever. But I still think that there's hope. This is the Pollyannish, maybe positive side of me, Sarah, which I know you appreciate, trying to be optimistic. But I really believe that this is the year to redefine the Christmas holiday. If not this year, next year. What do I want it to be? I don't know. But I feel like I've always been on someone else's agenda. I've never really done what I wanted to do. And I think that's kind of exciting. It's sad and exciting at the same time. But I've been gone, obviously, like a lot the last couple of months. And so kind of I'm like, coming in hot, like the other day, just like have so much to do, like pile of work. You have no idea. And it's like, it's creeping up to my birthday's in a few days. It's going to be mid-December. And usually, you see people with the Christmas trees on the top of their cars, and you see people with Christmas trees a little bit too early. Honestly, people start doing it like right
Day
when
after
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
a lot of people feel
Oh,
like fair
100%.
game.
Oh, totally. And the thing is, like, my main reason for getting a Christmas tree, honestly, is the festiveness. I like the ambiance. I like the atmosphere. I like the lights. It's cozy and it's great next to a fireplace. That's really the reason. But, I used to always go out into this yard when I'd stay with my dad, up here, we would go cut a tree down because you want to kind of like thin out the forest anyway, because there's just too many trees. And so there's great little Christmas trees. Come on up and pick one out if you guys are dealing with a supply chain shortage. But yeah, so I am getting a Christmas tree. And I'm going to get it from my backyard, and Christmas tree farm shortage, be damned, because I'm doing it. I'm hanging my ornaments, and I'm going to enjoy the ambiance if it kills me. And I think I'm going to just see where it goes from there. And hopefully next year I'll be on a plane to somewhere tropical, because that's what I want to do for my next Christmas. This year it's a little too late, but I have a feeling it's still going to be a good Christmas, despite everything. I'm just not all that excited yet. But I would like to know from you guys, how are you feeling about the Christmas season this year, 2021? Are you excited? Are you trepidatious?
If you're Jewish, maybe not.
Or are you just kind of like whatevs? Yeah, if you're Jewish, you can just skip ahead. Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com. We want to hear from you.
My mother's family, Jewish folk, had Christmas trees. But Christmas can be celebrated in many non-religious ways. Certainly, you can't get away from it, really. Even if you're not celebrating Christmas itself, it's like it's the holidays. People have time off work. People get together. I actually, a friend of mine who is not a Christmas celebrator, a couple years in a row, she and I went to a movie on Christmas Day.
I love going to movies on Christmas Day.
It's a
time
great
to go.
thing. My mom and I have done that as well. Not every year. It's not really a tradition of ours, but I mean, we could do it this year.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, oh my gosh, what was the movie that we saw? I'll have to remember. It was a Quentin Tarantino movie. Very violent.
Oh, I know what
we
it
went-
was.
We went and saw it on Christmas, and it was just like we loved it. We walked out and we were like, that was the weirdest Christmas ever. And it was so fun. Like, cause who cares? We saw like a good movie. But
God, what is the name of that movie? It's on the tip of my brain.
mean, it could-
because
we
I think
could-
I saw it at Christmas too. I believe, and I think we talked about it. It wasn't
Really?
Inglourious Basterds. It was Hateful Eight.
no, it wasn't Glorious. No,
It was Hateful Eight.
No, it wasn't Hateful Eight because I didn't like that movie very much.
Oh, really?
It was something between the two.
Okay. Not Inglourious Basterds. Django.
Django Unchained.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
what it was. It was Django
Yay.
Unchained. Yeah, thank you. I was not going to remember that. Just where you're like, I could go through the alphabet and I was just never going to get that. Yes, but that's exactly what it was. But anyway, movies, that's always a thing because I'm not. Well, I'm near my mom now, so there'd just be no reason not to see her on the holidays. We were together on Thanksgiving. It was, I was going to say it was super fun. It was very mellow, but I mean, who else would I want to be with?
Yeah.
And then Christmas, Christmas Eve, I'm gonna be with some friends who are doing kind of a. If anyone's Italian out there, or Italian American anyway, you might be familiar with Feast of the Seven Fishes. It's a tradition. Italian tradition where it's like 7 dishes.
Oh, I've actually heard of this. Yeah.
That all have fish incorporated in some way. And it's a tradition thing. A friend of mine, he's a really good cook and he takes it very seriously and they've been doing it for years.
Nice.
So that'll be fun.
Nice.
And yeah, hang out with my mom. But there have been years where I lived a plane ride away. So it was never, I don't think there's really ever been a whole year where it was like, I don't see my mom for Thanksgiving or Christmas, but we would often just be like, okay, what's the one we're choosing?
Yeah.
And who's coming where?
Yeah.
Like, are you coming to me or am I going to you? And then we're okay with the fact that it's not going to be both of them, because I'm like, getting on a plane like twice in 2 months,
Yeah,
both
sure.
for like super like crazy holidays, like not the funnest thing.
Nah,
So
definitely not.
So yeah, those years, and there have even been like a couple of years that, like the last year, I remember this well. Last year that I was in LA, it was Christmas. I had seen my mom. I think my mom came down to LA for Thanksgiving, and so she wasn't going to come down for Christmas. And for whatever reason, I wasn't going to go up there, where where she lived. And it was Christmas, and like I had food in the house, and I just sat around.
And you loved
And
it. I remember you liking it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm like, I knew I was going to do that. So there was no reason for me to be like in the doldrums about it
Yeah, of
later.
course.
I didn't make plans with anybody. And like, I wasn't trying to avoid anyone, but like, no one was really around. And so I was kind of like,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice. I'm
Yeah,
just going
no,
to
I
have
like
this
it.
super chill. And like, I walked around the neighborhood with my dog, and kind of looked in people's windows, and where I lived at the time, Echo Park, very festive.
Yeah.
A lot of Catholics. So it's like, people are celebrating Christmas. And it was like, I don't know, it felt kind of freeing in
Yeah.
a way to
I
just
mean,
be like,
I'll be
I
okay
have
with that,
nothing
I
to
think.
do right now.
Yeah. Let's be, sit by the fire and just, I don't know, roast some marshmallows. But
There you go.
if
Yeah,
you
don't start a
guys-
fire.
You guys and gals do not know where to find us. We are here to help. Patreon.com/have such a good day.
And by the way, if you're not a patron, we talk about it in every show, and you might listen to the show and say, when will they ever stop talking about Patreon? The answer's never, because we're hoping to be directly supported by the folks who listen to the show. As a patron, you get an ad-free version of the show. You might say, well, I didn't hear an ad in the show today. Well, no, you might. We are on an ad-supported network for the free version of the show. So you may hear ads here and there. And if that bugs you at all, Patreon is a great way to just get an ad-free feed. But you also get cool other perks. You can join at any level, as little as $1 a month. It's we're not asking for much, everybody. I mean, it's basically what I have in my crypto wallet right now. But you also, for $5 and up, you can go up to any level. Don't be crazy. But $5, you can join our Discord as well. Not mandatory. You don't have to do it, but we sure hope you do. We are in Discord with a great group of folks. Hello, Discorders.
What's up?
What up? And just hanging out in between shows. And
We actually
it's
have a
really
new
fun.
Discorder.
We do, and her name is Jennifer. I
Hi,
mean,
Jennifer.
you might be a he named Jennifer. It's
Yeah, who
unlikely,
knows?
but you
Yeah.
might be.
Yeah.
But Jennifer, you could be a dolphin, of either gender, really.
Maybe an egret.
You might be an egret. That would actually
Wouldn't that be cool?
extremely cool.
But Sarah, we also have some new patrons.
We do.
Pretty
And
excited about this.
Eric from Denver. What up, Eric? It might be snowing in your area too.
Yeah.
You're one of them. Kevin Sill. Hey, Kevin.
Woo, woo.
Kevin has been busy on Patreon this week. So Kevin, we really
nice.
appreciate you supporting us. And especially Kyle, 2020's Tuxedo Cat. Now that might
2120s.
not mean 2120's Tuxedo Cat. Yeah. 2020, last year's cat. Kyle, we know who Kyle is. It might not make sense to everybody else, but Kyle the cat.
We know who you are, and we
know
love
who you are, and we appreciate your. Kyle was incredibly generous to us, and that is quite the holiday gift indeed.
It
So
really
thank you.
was such a sweet, sweet gesture, and we will never forget it. And it will take us all the way through this crazy holiday season with a smile on our face, hopefully.
True that. And Jude Sturman wrote in commenting on something that you talked about, Heather, recently, which was, buying local and supporting local businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Jude said, I have to agree. It's important to support small businesses and spend less online. However, I think we're going to see even fewer brick and mortar stores in the future. The trend on theft continues to be a real problem. It's much easier to protect and build a warehouse than a store front with glass windows that's easily accessible to the public. Do you think we'll be buying our food at local restaurants and grocery stores and everything else online?
It's a very interesting point. I guess I didn't really, of course I know what's going on with all this kind of looting and stealing from stores and stuff, which is a really good point. Like, it's kind of sad to think about that, like these little boutiques or, little mom and pop shops are going to go away because people can't respect other
Yeah.
people's property. But Jude, yeah, interesting point. I think this is a conversation we should have on another show for sure. And I don't know, Sarah, what do you think? I mean, I think things are really changing rapidly, and I know a lot of local restaurants during COVID were like actually offering groceries and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well, in Forestville, where I live, I mean, I live in an unincorporated area, but Forestville is the closest town. There is a downtown Forestville. It's like 2 blocks long.
Yeah.
There's not much of a town, but there's stuff. And, of the 5 restaurants, like 2 or 3 closed, although one is opening up, like a new one. It actually looks pretty cool. They're doing a bunch of work on it. But yeah, there was a bakery that sort of had these like interesting delivery things that they were doing to just kind of keep the baking going and keep people, buying their bread. It's really good bread, by the way. If you're ever in the area, go to Nightingale
I
Bread.
will.
Yes.
And then I'm going to go knock on your door and you'll think that I'm Jason Voorhees.
Oh my God. And you're just holding a loaf of bread. Almost as scary, really.
I'm going to do that. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to give you a heart attack.
And also, Jude, I assume that you're referring to, well, I don't know what you're referring to, but I know in my neck of the woods, San Francisco and the Bay Area in general, a lot of those, the bigger chain stores, you hear the stories about like, oh, Walgreens is closing because like they can't stop the theft. And, somebody broke down the windows at Bottega Veneta and stole a bunch of like extremely expensive
High-end
purses down in
purses. It's just like-
Union Square and stuff where I'm like, well, that's, I mean, very illegal, but I don't know how much that affects like my day to day. Yeah, I don't know. There's such a deep conversation.
Yeah,
to be had there,
let's unpack
so-
this in a later episode
Let's unpack this, but later.
yeah, because we've really yacked up a storm today, Sarah.
We did.
It's been fun. It's been
has been
fun and
fun.
sad and all the things.
Well, I'm glad for your companionship, Heather, and I know that you've had a really, you've had a time.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're here today, and we're all glad that you made it to the end of another show, episode 126.
I
How about
survived.
that? How about it? Yes, we
Yeah.
all survived. Even Otis the dog seems barely alive down there on my yoga mat, but I think he's alive. But we're gonna let y'all go. Yeah.
Well, until next week, I will remain Heather. I mean, unless like, I don't know, meteor hits me tonight, but
You could legally change your name. I don't know if it's going to happen in a week.
Yeah.
You could.
I could. You're right.
I'm not going to. I will still be Sarah
Okay.
next week. I promise.
We look forward to seeing you again next week or hearing you, knowing that you're there.
Yes.
Have such a good day.
Bye.